All right, so we're going to get started. We're going to get right into the team call tonight. There's kind of a lot of info I'm going to go over. These are some tips on how to hit Success Club every month. You can specify it as Success Club 5 or Success Club 10, whichever, whatever your goal is for the month. So if you want to have some paper just in case. But, all right, so there's 12 tips, and I'm going to go right through them. The first tip is to make sure that you're tracking your business, and that means using BATs, power of threes. I'm a to-do list type person. I like to cross things off a list, so I'd use that a lot. But the tip with this is that you can't change anything if you're not measuring it. So for me, by filling out my power of three or my BAT every week, I see that my weak spot is sharing the business with people. So when I see that on my sheet every week, it reminds me that I need to fill in that blank. So that's big for me. And really, whatever works for you for tracking your business, use it. All because a power of three or a BAT works for some, it may not work for you. If you're just type in a spreadsheet Excel type person, just use that. And always refine your system. Like I've gone back and forth with, I always do the to-do list, but I always go back and forth with a BAT and the power of three sheet. Sometimes, some weeks, like lately, I've been filling out both of them. Sometimes I just fill out one, or sometimes I fill out the other, and I just go back and forth. My second tip number 2, it's all about your mindset. Beginning of the month, you have to tell yourself, I'm going to make Success Club 5 or I'm going to make Success Club 10. Get in that mindset at the beginning of the month. Figure out what your goal is for the month and tell yourself that. Remind yourself that. Write it down so that you see it. Write it by your computer, wherever that you look at a lot. Make sure that it's always there in front of you. Tip number 3, following up. This one is huge. It's your job to follow up and keep the conversation alive. This is just as important as the 3 vital behaviors, and it really should, I think, should be a 4th vital behavior. If you're not following up with people, you're going to miss out on conversations. You're going to miss out on helping someone. You always have to follow up and have a system in place to track your follow-ups. I'm going to touch base on this in a little bit, but you can use, an Excel sheet. If you're using your BAT, using the power of 3 sheet, you need to have a good system in place in recording what you follow up with people. So that brings me to my next tip, tip number 4, keep good records. So if you're the calendar, a calendar person, or a pen and paper, a notebook, write dates down that you talk to people, or use Asana. I'm big on Asana. I use that, and I put like what we talked about last, and then I schedule within Asana when I'm going to follow up with that person. So if I send Gina a message tonight, I'll kind of put in there like send her, I don't know, send her whatever script, and then I'll schedule a follow-up with Gina then in 2 days. So if I haven't heard from her in 2 days, then it's going to prompt me to follow up with her and make sure she got my message. And you just kind of want to just jot down, if you're just writing it down in a notebook, just jot down when you talk to the person and what you talked about, so that you kind of keep that, eventually you get to talk to so many people that you can kind of lose track on what you sent to who, and did you send this person a video? And like I found myself going through my messenger and like scrolling through messages to see if I even sent this person a video. And you can save yourself that time by just keeping good records. Tip number 5, update your list. We talked about this last week, I think, or the week before. Your list of contacts, your 100 people list, you should update that every single month. You should have your top 10 from that list change every single month. This can be written down on, or in Excel. It could be done in Asana. It could be done, like I showed you guys the one week, through Facebook with my friends list that I do each month. However it works for you, just continue to update your list. As you add new people into your network, get them on your list. Tip number 6, this is a big one, especially for me, I've learned, don't get out of your rhythm. My day today is pretty similar. I do my power hours pretty much the same time. You know, my mornings start out the same, and getting the kids to school, and then, you know, all that stuff is pretty much the same for my day to day. But I do find if I take a day off and then at least like 2 days off, then I broke that rhythm, and I kind of feel like I fell apart a little bit. And it's okay to take a day off or 2 days, you know, whatever fits your schedule, that's fine. Whatever works for you, but just don't get out of your groove. If you've got your groove going and you're doing well and being consistent, then continue to at least stay active in the challenge group and with personal development. And, you know, I like to think of it as if my business was $1 million business, would I get out of my groove? No. No way. If I was making $1 million a year doing this, every single day, I would be very intentional on what I would do every single day and make sure that I continue to grow and build my business. So, you know, treat it like it's $1 million business, because it could one day be. Tip number 7, the conversations that you start this month will be your sales next month. So, you know, this goes back to no does not mean no forever. It just means not right now. Don't give up on somebody just because they're not ready right now. You know, and I go back to Gina tried to get me to join like 2 years ago, and I was like, no way. And then, you know, like 2 years later, here I am. So, no just means not right now. So you kind of just put those people on the back burner, update your list, and then put those people on the back burner. And then just stay in conversation with them. Make sure you're touching base with them. I don't know, maybe once, it depends on what type of relationship you have, but try and stay in touch with them at least like once a month, see how they're doing, or comment on their Facebook posts or like them, and just stay relevant with them so that when they are ready, they know where to go. Number 8, this is a big one. Sharing, not selling. So I don't want to act like a salesy type person. I'm not a salesman. And that's not what Beachbody is about. It's not being a salesman. What you are supposed to do, what this is about, is just sharing your story on what Beachbody has done for you or for someone else that you've helped. And then you don't ask anything in return. So if you put something on Facebook and you're sharing someone's story, don't ask for anything in return. And we usually don't. But just be mindful of that you're just out there just to share this awesome transformation story with everybody on Facebook, so that everybody on Facebook could, you know, give props to that person and help lift that person up and make them feel really good about themselves. You know, like I share how I had a baby 2 years ago, and I have abs after 3 kids. Well, not anymore, but I did have abs after 3 kids. So, you know, I shared that. I wasn't asking for anything in return. I wasn't asking someone to, you know, like some of my posts, I don't even ask to join my challenge group. I just share my story, and you don't ask anything in return, you know? So don't be afraid to share your transformation, and don't ask for like, join my next challenge group or join my next clean eating group if you want me to help you or whatever. Just share. You can share how Shakeology helps you day to day. Ray Higdon, I really like him. He said, don't be addicted to the outcome, meaning don't be so focused on them buying a challenge pack. So, you know, like don't share things and talk to people with your focus being, I'm going to sell them a challenge pack. Don't put that on your focus. Just keep your mindset where you're just sharing your story, you're sharing someone else's story, and you're just trying to help someone. That's it. Leave it at that. Because you don't ever want to make anyone feel guilty for saying no. And if you set expectations up there that they're going to buy a challenge pack and then they don't, then you kind of defeat yourself a little bit and you beat yourself up a little bit. Like when Gina asked me 2 years ago to buy, or it's probably been 3 years ago, I don't know, a long time ago when she asked me to buy a challenge pack, and I was like, no way. And I was flat out like, no way, not happening. Don't ever ask me again. But she kept sharing her story on Facebook. She kept sharing pictures and stuff. And eventually it was the right time for me. And then I jumped on it, you know. When you're sharing with people, learn how to talk to people to help them dig for their why they want to lose weight, why they need to start eating better, or whatever their why is. You don't want them to say, oh, I just want to lose 10 pounds. Why do you want to lose 10 pounds? Is it because when you look in the mirror, you do not like who you see? You know, why do you want to eat healthier? Are you eating out every single night? Are you eating McDonald's or Burger King 7 days a week? You know, like, dig deeper into their why. Because once people are emotionally invested in something, the financial part doesn't matter as much. So, you know, if you have someone that says like, oh, forget it, the price is too much, they're not emotionally invested in it yet. They're not at that point internally where they're like, I've got to change. So when you're talking with them, informing them, get to their why. It's important to find out what their goals are. All right, tip number 9, how to handle objections, especially those price objections. We all get them. I'm sure most of us have done that face when we hear that, when we first heard the price of a challenge pack. We were, you know, Gina tells me a challenge pack was $140. I'm like, $140? Say what? But think of that objection as just a speed bump. You know, they don't know how it feels to be consistently on Shakeology. They don't know how it feels to consistently be working out every day. You know, they're starting from the beginning. They feel terrible about themselves, but they don't see that that $140, $180 investment is life-changing. So just treat that first objection as just a speed bump. And then meet them on their level. Get down with them and understand how they feel, you know. And you do understand. I mean, I know at first I was like, $180, I got 3 kids. Are you crazy? You know, I just didn't see that, and that was worth the investment. You know, then 1 week after doing the 21-day fix, I saw the investment. You know, 31 days later, I saw the investment, you know, and now here I am a year later, I see the investment. So just, that's where you go back to sharing. You know, share what works for you or what worked for you. Put yourself back in that place you were when you bought your first challenge pack. And remember how you were feeling. Remember how those price objections, you know, when you heard that price, how you felt, and meet them at that level and understand what they're saying, because you understand. And then educate them, because we all know that these challenge packs can change their lives. We know that it changed our lives. So just, you know, tell them how it's changed your life. Tell them, you know, being on Shakeology, you know, dig deeper than I have more energy. You know, you can say, like, for me, before I was on Shakeology, I couldn't even chase my kids around at the park without feeling absolutely tired. So I would just sit on a bench and watch them. And I wasn't even really overweight. It was the lack of nutrition. It was me not eating right. It was me just not exercising and feeling good about myself. So, you know, share how, you know, what your problem was, and then how it was changed. And be specific. And don't just be general, like, oh, I wanted to lose 10 pounds, or, you know, like, oh, I needed more energy, or I just felt bloated and Shakeology helped with my bloating. Share more of it. You know, if you had like irritable bowel syndrome or something and Shakeology helped with that, dig deeper into that and say, like, I was on medication and now I'm not, or whatever the story is. And understand that they're not rejecting it. When you get that rejection and objection, understand that they're not rejecting you as a person. So don't take it to heart. They're just objecting the option to start their fitness journey right now. So don't take it personally. They're just not ready. They're not emotionally invested in it yet. So just don't take it hard on yourself. Tip number 10, do what it takes to make it. So this is really, you know, this tip is just more, make sure that you abide by the policies and procedures that are in the guide. don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone. And don't be afraid to, like if you're struggling 1 month and, you need it to work and you have people that are right there, don't be afraid to invest in something to give them an incentive, a rebate or a gift card, or, my next 3 orders are getting a Target gift card or whatever it is, or, a Hip Hop Abs if you have it from Black Friday or whatever the case may be. Don't be afraid to give incentives, if you have someone that's right there, if it's what you need to do to make your goal for the month. Number 11, we kind of touched on this already, but view your business like it's a profession. Like I said before, treat it like it's $1 million business. If this really was worth $1 million, what would you change in your day-to-day? What would you change every single day to make sure that you were consistent? What would you be doing every single day if this was $1 million business? Would you be doing what you're doing right now? Probably not. I know that I would change some things for sure. And the 12th tip, 3 vital behaviors. We've talked about it. We've talked about it. We've talked about it. I know, and you're probably sick of hearing about it, but the fact of the matter is, when it comes down to it, every single coach, even the top coaches, do this with their business every day. And that's really the secret behind, when someone says, oh, I wonder what Melanie Mitro does, why is she so successful, and what does she have that I don't? And really what it comes down to is she's consistent with the 3 vital behaviors every single day. And that's how she built her business. And any of us can do it too. You just have to be intentional and you have to be consistent. So that's my tips for you. Does anyone have any questions on any of those tips? It was a lot of info, but Gina, you're on mute, just so you know.
Unmute.
Unmuted. Any feedback? Any questions? What do you guys think? My phone's going off. I have it recorded so everybody can listen to it.